Since FM24 has been released, we've been looking for some Wonderkid bargains in the game, and we have found some for you today. We have got a list of just under 20 players that we consider bargain Wonderkids. This doesn't necessarily mean you can sign them for all under $1 million or anything like that, but we all think they represent great value for money for the player and the potential that you're getting. I think the most expensive is maybe 10 million, and a lot of them are under 1 million, so there's a great set of players here for the top level teams, for the small teams, whatever save you're doing. We have got some bargain Wonderkids for you. Before we get started with this list of players though, if you do enjoy the video, smash the like button for us to show your support. YouTube then thinks, wow, everyone's liking it, it's a great video, let's show it to more people, which helps us and also helps other FM players out there as well for finding these players. Subscribe if you haven't already, as we do daily, if not double daily content currently on the FMSCOUT channel. And finally, comment down below your favourite bargain Wonderkid so far. We've done bargain players in general, but now we're focusing on those bargain Wonderkids, the young stars that have great potential and cost you barely anything compared to their ability. So let's start with player number 1. And he is the one exception in this list, so I wanted to start with him first just to get it out of the way. And this is Asano of Schalke. Now, he is a brilliant player with brilliant potential and can become one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the world. The reason that I'm doing him first, though, is he is far more expensive than anyone else in this list in this save, but that isn't the case in every single save. If you don't know, when you load up a save, players' attributes, value, and their potential can sometimes vary, and sometimes this guy can be under 10 million. Here, though, he isn't. He's about 20 million. Even still, I think he'd be worth the money. I wanted to show him anyway, but yes, he's not necessarily the biggest bargain in the world in terms of ability to price point, but I promise you, in nearly every save you do, he'll be worth 50 odd million in a few years. A great young player. If you didn't know him, check him out, but he's the only exception in this list. But our first proper player that we're showing today is Nelson Viper. He plays for Mainz as a breakthrough prospect in the Bundesliga, and the 18-year-old German has already got under 21 football for the national team. Now, he's a determined 6'4" striker with great physical ability. He's quick, strong, and pretty decent in the air as well. He can finish with nice work rate and first touch, good penalty taking, passing ability, teamwork, technique. He's got all that you would want from a young striker. He's only going to cost you a few million as well. As I say, prices can vary, but I've seen him for under $1 million in a few saves. Here though, if we tried to sign him, it would be looking like how much? About £2 million maybe, if we take the middle ground on this fee that they're asking for here of 450 to 3.8 mil. So yes, a bargain player, definitely worth the money and can go on to be worth way more than this. I'm not going to spend this long on every player because we've got a lot to get through, but there's Nelson Viper. Slightly more expensive is midfielder Muhamad L Arouch of Lyon here. Now, in another save I had, he was wanted at the start of the save by Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, and another club, so it does show if you get a version of him with good potential in your save, you might need to act quick because he is great value for money for the player you're getting. £5 million for the breakthrough prospect from Lyon, 19 years of age, ready for some first team football now. Physically he is lacking and he is only 5'5", but mentally so strong for a 19-year-old, great ability all around, particularly when it comes to chance creation. He is the man for that. An advanced playmaker would be his best role by the looks of it. Yes, does need some work, but could definitely play at the highest level, and for £5 million or so, or for some saves even cheaper than that, he could be a great pickup. Now, most of the players in this list are players that we haven't really spoke about so far, but this is an exception. I had to show him because if we're talking about value for money compared to potential, Estal has to be here. 16-year-old Brazilian playing for Palmeiras. He's got great potential in game, can actually be one of the best number 10s in the world with the right development, but if you don't sign him, he usually gets stuck at Palmeiras. Now, since we first spoke about him, I've been told in Brazil they call him Messinho. He's one of the best dribblers they've seen, and 8 dribbling is actually an awful representation of how good he is, but I've since discovered that that dribbling is actually variable in your save. So when you load up a save, that attribute seems to be pretty random, and it might be the case for a lot of his other attributes too, but either way, he'll always have great potential in your save. He costs you barely anything. He's always under £1 million or so, and he has a very bright future and someone that you should definitely try and sign. If you have some spare cash laying around, develop him and you will make huge profits or have one of the best players in the world in a few years. If you're looking for another Brazilian player though, then why not check out Telas Wanda of Sao Paulo. He's a 19-year-old striker who can be picked up for about £3 or £4 million, it seems like here. He's got a £4 million release clause to other Brazilian clubs, but not to the world. And yeah, nothing changes. Looks like the striker will cost £3 or £4 million, which is not a bad value for a player who's got great starting attributes, very similar actually to Nelson Viper, except he is a 5'9" forward compared to 6'4", so maybe a little bit different in that sense. One's up here, one's down there, but either way, he's a very talented young option with great ability, great potential. Here Here at Chelsea, they reckon he could potentially be a Premier League standard player, and he's good enough for the Championship already. 3 or 4 million for a Championship level striker at 19 who has potential to be a Premier League level player sounds like a no-brainer to me. Jeno Monserrate is our next player, playing for Real Zaragoza. We covered him in our under £1 million Wonderkid video, I believe, and you can see why we would have done. I mean, he's valued at just about £1 million. He's got a release clause of 575k. Bargain. He's 17 years of age with amazing ability for a 17-year-old, potential to get way better, has the potential to be one of the best number 10s in the world like Estal also does, and yeah, absolute bargain. 500k, what more needs to be said for a player who already looks this good on paper. Fullback Wonderkids can be quite hard to find, but at right back this year you have the brilliant Falco Missori, who you can pick up from Sassuolo for about 5 million. He's got great all-around ability. He is 19, so he's a little bit older than some of the younger Wonderkids that we will look at, and for that reason he's a lot more rounded as a player. But in terms of a fullback who likes to get forward in that modern day style and put a cross in, dribble past the player, Missori could be the man for you. He's a future Italian international in your save with the right development, and you could be the one giving him that development for only 5 million quid. A player that actually made my Wonderkid Dream 11, I like him that much, is Martin Vitic, Sparta Prague centre back who can be picked up for 6 million. Now he straight away at the age of 20 has 16 strength, good pace and very good attributes all around. He's 6'4" and has great ball playing ability here as well as great defensive ability as well, and I mean, what more could you want from me? He's wanted by Man U here. £6 million. Yes, it's not necessarily bargain money that everyone has, but for the player you're getting, it definitely is a bargain. This guy will be worth 20-30 million in a couple of years, and maybe even more than that if he continues to develop, because he does have one of the best potential ranges of any centre-back Wonderkid in the game this year. 10 players to go now, and before we get into them, I'd just like to let you know I do have my own channel linked in the description down below where we do Football Manager rebuilds. We've done one with Chelsea, one is coming with Ajax, and we also have YouTube shorts about Wonderkids you might not have heard of. So if you think you'd enjoy that content, if you're like me and you want to see more entertaining videos as opposed to informative, then come on over, check it out, and I'd really appreciate it. But enough plugging, let's get back to our final 10 where we have Lucas Assadi, a Chilean 19-year-old as our next player with 15 dribbling, 14 first touch. This guy's exceptional technically, and then you think, wow, well, he must be crap mentally and physically to be so cheap. No, he's very good in all areas. Playing for Universidad de Chile makes him a very buyable option for about 3 or 4 million pounds. Because he's not a huge club in terms of reputation, it's not too hard to steal him away from them. Yeah, brilliant player, brilliant ability, a technical whiz on the wing who could serve you very well should you sign him. FC Copenhagen's Elias Gelert is one of the best young right backs on the game and always goes on to do big things. I mean, at Copenhagen, you've got Gelert and you've also got Rooney Bargi playing for them, so two very good young talented players. I haven't actually included Bargi in this list, but I definitely should have done. 17 years of age, Wonderkid with great ability who can be picked up for 8 or 9 million. Everyone knows him at this point already, I kind of thought, but even still, if you don't, Rooney Bargi, what a guy. But yes, in the same team as him is right back who can also play left back, Elias Gelert. Really good physical ability with acceleration, pace, stamina and agility, great mentals and technicals as well. What more needs to be said? A perfect right back who's going to get way better as the years go on. One of the most complete players in this list though is 20-year-old Argentinian regular starter for FC Dallas, Alan Velasco, who might demand a bit more in the wage front compared to some of these other players, but he is an elite talent, and that's why Arsenal, Liverpool, United and Newcastle all want him here. For about 2 or 3 million pounds from the MLS, you get a player whose physicals are okay, but his mentals and technicals are standout attributes, can play on the left naturally, behind the striker, or even at a push on the right or up front, with good finishing, dribbling, and just all-round ability, passing, vision, technique, off the ball work, concentration, decision-making, composure. The list could go on. Argentinian youngster, great ability. The next Messi, maybe not, but maybe the next star for your team. But if you haven't got 3 or 4 million and you've only got about £1 million to spend, then have a look at 17-year-old striker Matias Pocic, who plays for FK Partizan, whose face has somehow disappeared for some reason here. I don't know why, but physically, he's 6'4", great ability all around, quick, strong and tall. Not amazing either one of them aspects, but has it all in his locker. With room to get way better yet, at the age of 17, those physicals will go up a lot over the next few years. Technically and mentally, he's got some great starting attributes as well. Not as good as some of the other players we've looked at, but he is super cheap. He's on a youth contract, so you can go ahead and approach to sign him straight away. Just offer him a contract and pay some compensation. That compensation here would be 1.5 million, so it might be best just to go straight up and sign Pocic. But either way, good youngster, check him out if you want a cheap striker. A brilliant youngster that was great last year is Julian Guerrero of Real Madrid, currently on loan at Roma with no option to buy. So he will go back to Real Madrid at the end of his contract, and his contract does actually expire at the end of your first season. Now, there's a good chance Real Madrid will extend it, but keep an eye on him. You might be able to get him on an absolute bargain. A great player technically with nice physicals and mentals, but it's his technicals where he really stands out. Great first touch and dribbling as well. A silky player who lives up to the reputation that young Spanish youngsters tend to have around the world of just being so good technically. So head on over to Roma, send a scout on him, see how he develops. He could be a great pickup for you. 5 players to go now. The most expensive one left is Junior Krupy, a 17-year-old French striker playing for FC Lorient. Now, believe me if you want to, or don't believe me, but in some saves, I've seen him already go on to be Real Madrid striker. That's how good this guy can be. And you can see for 7 or 8 million, you would get a bargain who physically has it all. I mean, he's 14 and will get better, but he has got everything you need to be strong in the in-game engine, which is pace and acceleration, which he has in abundance, combined with agility. When he's 19, most of these will be 15 or higher, other than his strength and his jumping reach, making him a very good prospect physically. Combine that with decision-making that even 29-year-old players would love to have at 16. Great off the ball work, passing ability, vision, great technique, finishing, and first touch with nice dribbling as well. Send a scout on him, see how he develops, and it won't be long before the big clubs come sniffing. Another young striker without a face is Jeronimo Deino, who plays for Union de Santa Fe in the Argentinian divisions. A youngster with nice attributes all around, not too much to talk about. Good base set at the age of 17, but does need some development. For about £2 million, he still represents a bargain though. 16-year-old Portuguese national Rodrigo Moa of Porto is our next player, 4 or 5 million for a very good young talent with nice ability, but mainly this guy is all about potential. He has great potential in game, could go on to become one of the world's biggest stars with the right development for you. Got a few years left on his contract, no release clause or anything like that, so maybe best to scout him, see if he begins to develop in your save, and then try and poach him from Porto's hands. We then have Strasbourg's Abdul Utara, who will cost you about £1 million. He's got great passing and vision, and whilst his technique does lack, he's got really good first touch, dribbling, and decision making at such a young age. Needs work in some other areas, but for about £1 million, this transfer can't go wrong. At very least, you'll make your money back. Most cases, you'll make 10 times your money, and in some cases, you will find a star for such a cheap fee. And we finish off with Vélez is Gianluca Prestiani, a 17-year-old. He's been dubbed as one of the best young stars on the planet. A winger that can play on either side, 5 foot tall, good ability, physically, mentally, and technically. Particularly his mentals at this age are crazy good. I mean, he does have one leadership, so don't ever ask him to do your team talks, but mentally great, technically great, and physically, like I say, he's got everything already. He's only 5'5", and he even has 8 strength, and that's only going to go up over the next few years. Playing for Vélez, about 5 million will be enough to get him. Worst case, they charge you his release clause of 9.5 mil. Maybe not quite as much of a bargain if they do that, but still a great player for a very cheap fee who could go on to do a hell of a lot. So scout him, see how he develops. Already a regular starter at Vélez, so he will develop fast. But there you go. That is 17, 18, 19, something like that. Bargain Wonderkids for you to check out. But if that wasn't enough for you, check out the link in the description that will take you to a web page on FMSCOUT with a bigger list than what I've shown you here. Way more players of every single rating ability, from players that can play in the 3rd division of England to the top division. There'll be something for everyone. So check it out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.